Good morning, everyone. I'm Connie Myers. It's Saturday morning. It's 10 o'clock. So this must be to 70 and beyond. I am super thrilled to be with you this week. Last week, I was afraid I had to go get tested because I was afraid I might have had COVID. The good news is it's just a really, really bad cold. And I was pretty much down for the first part of this week and still trying to get over it. So if my voice is a little husky, I apologize. For a while there this week, I sounded like John Wayne. Anyway, I was having a conversation with Michael this just a couple days ago, and we were talking about how sometimes we feel, excuse me, unworthy or not good enough, or we have a sense of lack. And he were talking about it, and he goes, he says, it's kind of what we can do. There's a trick we can do to overcome that. And he used water bottles as an example. Excuse me. Anyway, so we were talking about, I said, what do you mean water bottles? And he goes, well, think about it. So when you go to like the big bulk stores or, like some of those types of stores, you can get water for the equivalent of about 25 cents a bottle, right? Second of all, he says, and so when you're not feeling worthy, you're kind of feeling like that bulk store water bottle. Your worth is like 25 cents. Then if you go to a grocery store and you buy the individual bottles, they're anywhere from 50 cents to 90 cents. So if you have a grocery store mentality, now you've upped how you feel about your self-worth because that water bottle, that you, is worth more. If you go to a convenience store, most of the time now they're $1.50 for a bottle of water. Now we're at a convenience store level of self-worth. Now we're at $1.50. So think about that in terms of where you are right now. If you go to a sporting event, if you have like the local kids sporting events, the water bottles are usually $2. So now you've increased it even more. If you go to a concert, it's like $5. If you go to a fine dining, you can get a bottle of water that's going to cost $7, $8. So when you're thinking, and I think this is Michael, this was very clever. When you are thinking about your self-worth, do you want to be at the bulk store level, or do you want to be at the fine dining level? Do you want it to be Perrier or some of the other waters? So when you're thinking about your self-worth, think about it in terms of, okay, where do I want to stand? Where I am right now. Maybe you are at the 25 cent level because you're feeling down and out. And whenever I get sick, I go into that space. I don't know about you, but I always feel, oh God, I'm not good enough. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And all this inner voice talking to me. But what you can do is you can say, I'm a fine dining, or I'm at a sporting event or a concert where my water bottle, my body, my me, my being is highly valued. So I thought that was a great way of elevating. And so now this week, by the way, I do not recommend plastic water bottles. I do please have your own reusable bottle, please. And reusable straws, by the way. But when you're thinking about yourself, think about where you are and your self-worth and what value you have for yourself. Doesn't matter what other people think. What is the value of yourself? Because when you have value for yourself, then other people are going to pick up on that. So I'm making this very short and sweet this week, but I wanted to really, I thought when Michael told me about it, I thought I got to talk about this. So I want to talk a little bit about the 4th of July. So a few years ago when I was living in Portland, I was at my son's house and there was big fireworks going on. And unfortunately, they were putting off fireworks in the street. There was this young boy, he's probably 7 or 8 years old. And his dad's out there helping him put out the fireworks or light the fireworks. And every time there were these firemen on bicycles that were riding around the neighborhood, but every time they would come, they would pull everything away. Anyway, that night I got home. And the year before, my next door neighbor, she had a son that was in his late teens, early 20s. And I woke up the next morning after fireworks and I found all these bottle rockets everywhere. So when I was driving home, I looked over and the house that they lived in was black. It was dark. And I was like, okay, they weren't home this year. Well, I go into the house, get ready for bed. I'm calling into bed as sports is on. So it's like 10:20. This was in Portland where the news is not at 11. And all of a sudden, I hear this knock on the door. And I'm going, who is knocking on my door at this time of night? And I was going to ignore it. But then something told me to get up. And I got up and I walked past my den, which is where the sliding glass doors were. And all I saw in the backyard was orange. Now, this was in Portland. I was surrounded by trees, right? I went running out, and the house next door was fully engulfed in flames. The trees all around were flames. And here came the fire trucks. I grabbed my slippers and ran out the front door, and I turned around just to see the roof of my house on fire. I literally collapsed. So I have a very strong sense. The good news is it was a 7-alarm fire. They got out. There was lots of smoke damage and water damage inside my house, but at least it did not burn to the ground. And the son came home. He had left, and apparently him and a friend had been there setting off bottle rockets, and one had landed on the roof. And he came home the next morning to his mom, because she had been gone as well, to his mom looking at her house completely burnt to the ground. So if you are in a surroundings, if you are with people and you see this going on, please say something to people. Just tell them this story. Tell them what happened to me, because it has affected me. I don't go out on 4th of July anymore. I stay home to make sure I'm protecting my house and make sure there's nothing going on. So if you're going out somewhere and it's not a public place, which is what you should be doing, please tell this story, because this woman was devastated and her son burnt their house down. Can you imagine the feelings of guilt that he had to carry and probably still carries? So my message, twofold. Think of yourself as a fine bottle of water and make it any value you want to make it, just at the highest level. And when you're feeling like you're at a bulk rate, just change your attitude. Change. I am in whatever your favorite fine dining restaurant is. That's what I'm worth. So, okay. And then please, please, please have a safe but wonderful 4th of July. All right. I am still in Bend. Next week, I will be on my way. I should be getting to Portland, so that I probably will not be doing the 270 and beyond unless I'm somewhere, because I'm going to be driving through the desert. So I'll probably be somewhere where I don't have service, but I'm going to try. But if not, I will try to come on Sunday. All right, everyone, have a beautiful 4th of July and have a fabulous week. And think of yourself as a fine bottle of water. Bye now.